Welcome back to All Things ETH. My name is Aaron, and on this channel we talk about all things Ethereum. We talk about projects, play to earn, NFTs, DeFi, and price. And today, guys, I'm live again, trying to keep up with my Tuesday and Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we are live just a couple minutes early. Wanted to set things up here, so I'm going to go over to YouTube real quick and make sure this is live. Looks like we're good there. I'm going to turn this on, make sure this is up so I can see the comments. All right, now that that's turned down, I'll be able to see the comments, guys. So please feel free to comment along with me here. I'm going to be going through today my entire portfolio in crypto. Everything. I'm going to try and cover every single thing that I'm doing so that you guys can see what I'm up to, can follow along maybe. I'd love to hear what you guys are up to. Going through my entire crypto portfolio. Let me know what you all are invested in, and maybe I'll check one or more of them out on another live. All right, so you're watching All Things ETH right now, if you were watching, and this is when I talk about DeFi in particular. We talk about projects, play to earn, price, and DeFi. And on these lives, I'm going to try and stick to DeFi for the most part, at least for now. So thanks for joining us, and here we go. So I'm going to jump into my portfolio. First, I'm going to start in TradingView. So along the right side here, I've got almost every single coin that I'm invested in. There's a couple of them that are missing, and I'll show you those later, but for the most part, this is what I've got. Obviously, it's not going to show how much I have of each, but this is what I've got going on. Some of them you will see throughout this video, but yeah, let me know in the comments, please. Let me know what you think, and I'd love to hear what you guys are up to. So Ethereum, of course I've got some Ethereum. I think I'm up to about 18, maybe 19 now, total Ethereum. My goal is to hit 32 by the end of 2023, so I possibly could do a validator, although I'm not sure I'll be able to with just 32. I think I'll be using more of that for DeFi than I will be for spinning up a validator, but I kind of have that goal of 32 just because it'd be possible to run a validator, you know, if it became profitable to do so. Although I'm having too much fun in all these DeFi projects. So I don't have any Bitcoin. That's might be news to you. As someone who's been in the crypto space for nearly 3 years now, I do not own and have not owned any Bitcoin. I take that back. I did own some Bitcoin very short time. Very early on, I got a lot of advice to, you know, split my portfolio 50-50, or at least 40-40 and 20, 40 Bitcoin, 40 Ethereum, and 20% in altcoins. Back then, Ethereum really wasn't altcoin for most people 3-4 years ago. But don't hold any Bitcoin. I don't intend to right now. I've got plenty of opinions on that. I would love to chat about that at some point. If anybody's got any questions about that, let's get into it. But I'm going to pass that on for now. I have a ton of AXS, guys. So AXS is, besides Ethereum, probably my second largest holding. Ethereum being in all its forms. I mean, I've got staked Ethereum in Frax. I've got staked Ethereum in Coinbase. I've got staked Ethereum in Lido. I've got staked Ethereum in Lido on zk. zk.money, Aztec. And I've got lots of staked ETH and wrapped ETH in different places in Arbitrum and Optimism, and all over the place. I've got Ethereum, but second largest holding. AXS is probably, yeah, second largest. I'm going to say, let's actually show this one. I think I've got 210 right now. So I'm going to plug in my Ronin wallet, log in here. I've got 10 RON, not including that, which is staked. I've got 210 AXS, which is roughly $2,100 right now. At one point, I think I had 110 AXS, and it was worth, you know, probably $7,000 or $8,000. So all-time high on AXS was 160, I believe. Let's go over to my RON to WETH pool. So I've got $542 roughly in RON to ETH, and that, man, that has shot up. RON in particular has gone on a mad run. Look at this, from 20 cents all the way up to 110 or $1.10. Pretty impressive run. Obviously, we're not gonna last there long, but I do expect this to stay above, you know, at least above 50 cents, if not 75 cents, coming down here, unless we see a dump tomorrow with the Fed meeting, you know, putting on another 50 basis points or higher. If we stick with 25 or less, then I do think RON will probably travel along with the rest of the crypto market. I do expect a little bit of a run tomorrow if we don't see more than 25 basis points at that meeting. We'll see what happens. But again, I'm going through my entire portfolio today, so thanks for joining us. Please let me know in the comments what you're up to in the Ethereum space. Anything ERC20, I'm happy to talk about, including AVAX. Binance Smart Chain I'm not as familiar with, to be honest, so I do have some knowledge there, but obviously AXS is no longer on ETH. It changed over to the Ronin chain last year, or just a little bit before last year. I think it was maybe November of 21 when that switched over, but it's still an ERC20. SLP I have, you know, a large number of, but a very very small dollar amount of, as the price of that has gone to the floor. I don't have any, or a lot of Gala, but I do have a ton of Town. So one thing, if you're not in that space, guys, play to earn has been really interesting. The Gala universe, or the Gala ecosystem, has really taken off in the last couple months. They've been doing a lot of announcements. They're planning a movie with Mark Wahlberg. I think they're planning a movie with The Rock. So they've gotten into music with Snoop Dogg. They actually released his recent album last year on Gala first, which is pretty crazy. And you could actually buy NFTs related to that. There was a spider tank based on a lowrider with a big old speaker on a boombox on top. That was pretty fun. So they're partnering now with some A-list talent to get their products out there. So they're not going to be just play to earn. It's going to be, you know, gaming, movies, music, and beyond is what they're claiming right now. And so obviously they've got a couple games going, Town, Star, and Spider Tanks, and then a couple in beta. And they just announced that they're going to convert all of their Town coins into Gala coins. So they're going to get rid of Town entirely. They're going to move that all into Gala, where at first they said that it was going to be 2 Town coin for every Gala. So for every Town coin that you had, they were going to give you 1 Gala. Well, just the other day, you could probably see what day it was. Right here on Friday last week, very late last week, they mentioned that they will be actually giving you only taking 1 1/4 Town per Gala. So instead of taking 2 town to convert into 1 Gala. They're only taking 1.25, 1.25 town is going to give you 1 Gala. So my my bag of like 52,000 town, yeah, 52,679 town is going to be worth roughly 40,000 Gala, and so that it's actually puts me in a place where I think my Gala bag might be higher than what's the price of Gala right now? Gala is at 50 cents, 53 cents, not terrible. What's the calculation there? So times 0.53. That is not correct because it's actually 5.3 cents. So $2,100 in Gala currently. Now the top of Gala, let's just see where this could go if we saw Gala back at all-time highs. Totally possible. Yeah, we could be up above 50 cents. So I'm hoping, gosh, that'd be amazing. I'm hoping for a 10x from here for Gala in particular. And I'm much more of a hodler than a trader. So if we saw, you know, if we went 5x from here, I'm looking at $21,000, which would be incredible, considering I traded some of my ribbon that I earned through some video projects that I've done for ribbon, and converted that into town, knowing that we would get 2 town per Gala, and that even then it was at a good price to swap. So I think I got, there was pretty much 1-to-1 or 10-to-1, where ribbon was at 22 cents ish and town was at like 2.2 cents. So I switched them there, and town at that point was worth less than what half of Gala was, even though both of them had run up, 20-30% at least already at that point. I got a major upgrade when they announced that town would be almost as valuable as Gala at 1.25 to 1. And gosh, I would love to see a 10x from here. That'd be incredible. I do think it's totally possible with the plans that Gala has for this year. Movies, music, and massive gaming, guys. They've gotten into the mobile gaming market now. So Apple has announced that they will accept games with NFTs in them, as long as you play by their rules, which is, I think, a 30% revenue share. But Gala's going to give it a shot, and we'll see what happens. So I'm excited to see Gala pump whenever it does in the next 12 to 24 months. I do expect to see possible 10x from here. So again, guys, this is never financial advice. Please don't take my word for any. I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own research. Make sure you're in Twitter. Make sure you're in Discord. Make sure you're in any communication channels that you can do your own research on. Get in early. Find community, guys. That's how I got in with Ribbon. I've been a part of the Ribbon community for over a year now. Been creating some content for them and getting compensated in Ribbon for that. I don't want to not disclose that. They've been very generous. They've put out bounties to their community. In fact, it's not just me. They put them out just about every quarter, 2 to 3 videos, and they've been gracious enough to let me produce those videos for some Ribbon in return. So, all right, moving on. So Town, Gala, AXS, Ron, ETH, of course. Next is Ribbon, and that is a decent bag, although the price of Ribbon has gone down. And right now, I'll give you a little alpha on Ribbon in particular. They're talking about slowing emissions but haven't made a decision yet. There's a vote for the DAO right now, which I am a part of. I'm staking some Ribbon for VE Ribbon or V Ribbon to be able to vote in these. Now, I don't have nearly as much as most in the community. The community is full of whales, to be honest with you, and they're in it for the long term. So they're talking about slowing emissions on the weekly vault. So if you're in Ribbon and you're staking, you're putting Ethereum or any other assets into the vaults, you get some LP tokens in return, and you can stake those LPs to earn ribbon in each vault, and so they're talking about slowing that down as the price of the coin has been dropping and not really responding recently, at least, to the upturn like we've seen with, like Matic has come up from its lows pretty well. And we've got a 3x from the lows here. Obviously, you saw what Ron did. Gala, these are in different spaces, obviously, but even in the DeFi space, something like Lido has come up massively from its bottom. So we're at a 4x roughly from the lows in Lido. Frax is up, almost 3x, more like 2x there. Hop, even with little utility. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know about Hop, guys. Let me know what you think about Hop in the comments. Just don't see any utility there yet. Hopefully there's some, or let me know in the comments if you think there is some. But like Curve and Convex. Convex is up a little bit, not a ton. I mean, almost a 2x. Curve is up quite a bit. I think we're at a 2x here. So I would expect to see Ribbon up at least 2x. Which, I guess if you look at it, we've hit close to it. So 17 cents is the low, 16 cents is the low, with almost double up to 29. That's not terrible, but I would expect higher. Especially if we saw another DeFi summer like we did early on, 2019. So we'll see what happens. But I do have a lot of Ribbon. Again, I've been compensated by Ribbon to create content for them, so that's why most of it is in my possession. I do stake, and so I get some there. Probably, I think I've purchased 1,200 Ribbon, and then I've made 300 to 500 in the vaults, and then I've also accumulated several thousand Ribbon for creating content for them. Let's move on to Matic. I actually purchased Matic somewhere at the beginning of the bear market. Kind of lost my shorts on it, got a little fed up with that. But it's been on its hair. 30 cents is the low, and we're up, almost 4x. The highs since the low has been 4x. And I do expect Matic to do really, really well into the next bull run. It is probably one of the most accessible layer 2s, although I do believe, because its gas token is Matic and not Ethereum, I do believe that Optimism and Arbitrum may have a leg up there. It's been easier for me, at least, to not have to worry about Matic being the gas token and just continue to use ETH on Arbitrum and Optimism. And I believe that'll probably keep some people away from it, although Matic does have native transfers from Coinbase now, so you don't actually have to go to mainnet Ethereum first and then to Matic from Coinbase. You can actually go straight from Coinbase to Matic or Polygon, as it used to be named Polygon, or Matic before it was Polygon, but the token's still called Matic. So I do think there's more built on top of Matic because it was out sooner, it had a token sooner than Optimism and Arbitrum, but the ease of use, guys, and how much has been built, and what grants have been made for Optimism and Arbitrum, I do think we're going to see some leveling it out. In fact, I think it's already pretty much shown on DeFi Llama in particular that I'm not sure if I'm going to see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure TVL wise, we've got more. Let's just go to volumes, see if. So let's do volume. Just a pretty good benchmark there, right? Arbitrum currently has more volume than Polygon, which is amazing. Arbitrum's been out probably less than half the time that Polygon has. Now, I do think it's because Arbitrum's seeing a lot of volume because of potential airdrops with a token coming out potentially in 2023. So a lot of people are using Arbitrum for that specific possibility. But to me, Arbitrum and Optimism are almost ubiquitous. There's not a huge amount of difference that I've seen using either, and Optimism has a token, Arbitrum doesn't yet, so a lot of people are using Arbitrum to see if they can get an airdrop like Optimism gave. I wish I had gotten into Optimism before the airdrop, man. Most people saw that at least the influencers that I saw, upwards of $10,000 in Optimism tokens right out of the gate with that airdrop, and there's still 2 more rumored airdrops in the Optimism market, so don't shy away from it. Avalanche being a little bit higher than Optimism right now is probably because they've been around longer. Avalanche is known as the DeFi space. It's an ERC20 equivalent token or network. So is Phantom, so is many of these actually. Ronin, obviously, I mentioned before. Metis. A lot of these I'm not super familiar with. I believe at least half this list, if not more. Moonbeam for sure, Harmony for sure, Moon River, are ERC20, EVMs or Ethereum virtual machines. So BSC is for sure. So Optimism, Arbitrum, Polygon are the easiest to use out, if you're familiar with Ethereum. But I think Arbitrum and Optimism right now are even easier to use than Polygon because of you just don't need Matic. Just that simple. So leave some comments in the thread here, guys, in the chat. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Thanks for watching along with me here. I'm showing off my entire portfolio on this live. So let's get into more coins here. So I was on TradingView. So I'm doing a little bit of Matic. I've got a couple Matic NFTs. I've got a government toucan. Bought that yesterday. Kind of a fun project. I got to that because I was in Layer 3. Layer 3 had me go to complete a quest by going to OpenSea and purchasing an NFT. I do think purchasing NFTs, especially if you're getting into it for the first time, is super easy to do on Polygon, Optimism, and Arbitrum because fees are so low. And unless you've got a lot of cash, guys, a lot of Ethereum, and some of it, if you want to get risky into the NFT trading business, stay off of mainnet for now. Or if you've got a lot of money, use mainnet because those NFTs tend to be more valuable. Your Bored Apes and your CryptoPunks and whatnot, but try your dip your toe in on Polygon, Optimism, and Arbitrum if you want to pay some low fees and get some just get some experience with the NFT space. Some of my favorite Ethereum mainnet NFTs are Any Collection by Pak. Marut Pak is a fantastic artist. In fact, let me go to OpenSea real quick and find a Pak for you. Really cool stuff. More artistic. Let's see. He did this Lost Poets, yeah. I'm gonna go to just Lost Poets here. This is a really cool project. Don't know if they're holding value. I haven't actually come back to this in a while. Floor price is 0.03 Ethereum. Man, I really want to buy one of these now. They look a lot different than they used to. That's interesting. Oh, so the pages are 0.3. Okay, so they're holding the price pretty well. Most of them that I saw, and these look so different than they used to. I mean, they still have the same style, but the faces are more classical or Renaissance style looking than the originals. So that's interesting. This catalog is growing quite a bit. I don't think there was so many, 8,000 owners. I think it said there's 28,000 items. It's grown quite a bit. So the pages you can actually add to these. It's kind of a additive NFT space, which are pretty cool. I looked into buying one last year. I'm glad I didn't, because I would have purchased it for about an ETH, and it looks like the floor has, dropped out with most NFTs. It's probably still worth quite a bit, which is kind of cool, considering everything else is down, 90%, between 70 and 90% between Bitcoin and most altcoins. But yeah, throw your favorite NFT projects into the comments, guys. I would love to see who's trading what. But yeah, so I've got a couple NFTs on Polygon, a couple on Optimism and Arbitrum as well. Let's get back into coins in particular. So I did buy a fairly good chunk of OMI, which was just a recommendation from another crypto guy that I know personally in town, and really regret it, unfortunately. I think the $800 of OMI that I bought is now worth like $30, something like that. So worse than 90%. I think I bought OMI around 0.6 cents, and now it's at like 0.09 cents, which is basically zero. So if you don't know, because Vivi has been able to license Disney properties as NFTs. So Marvel and any Disney character, but also Star Wars. So there's C-3PO, there's R2-D2, there's Darth Vader, there's amazing, huge catalog worth of name brand NFTs. But the token, this OMI token, not easy to find. I had to find it on Uniswap, kind of niche. Had to put find it by putting in the project address into Uniswap just to get the token. Like I said, I put $800 worth, and I think it's down to like $30 total for my bag. But you win some, you lose some, right? I have a little bit of Curve, not a lot. I wish I'd gotten into Curve sooner. Curve, if you don't know, is a great place to store stables. It's a lot of one-to-one trading on USD, USDC, Tether, DAI, these sorts of things. There's tri-crypto pools in Curve, and then you stake the LP tokens and you get Curve. Right now, my favorite part about Curve is how many Ethereum-based pools there are. A lot of them are one-to-one. You're staking Ethereum versus wrapped staked ETH or staked ETH or Frax ETH. So I have some Frax ETH that I've got pooled with ETH. I've got some Lido staked ETH that's staked along with regular ETH to make me some juicy gains there. In fact, I've got a video that I talk about, and it's all about these LSD shootouts. So here's where all my ETH is. Probably should have started the video with this, but Coinbase staked ETH. I've got like 3 there. I've got a Frax staked ETH. I've got a zk.money Lido staked ETH. I've got Convex. So Convex is where I've got the LP tokens from Curve, and so I've got Synthetics ETH versus ETH, and I've got a Frax versus ETH in Lido, or rather in Curve, and then you put the LPs into Convex to get some extra boost there, and then got about 5 ETH in Ribbons Earn. They're in the staked ETH, Lido staked ETH format. I'm trying to get some gains there in the Earn vault, which is it's a good vault right now. It's what it is. I have a video about Earn in particular, so go check that out if you want to deep dive into it. But what Earn does is it lends some of the ETH that's in the pool, but it also has a twin win option strategy. So as long as the coin doesn't go more than 10% up or 10% down on a weekly basis, you get a decent little return. So I think I'm making like 0.5% per week in the Earn Vault. So did have a losing week not too long ago that put me in the negative for a second there. But overall, it's been really good. I've moved most of my Ethereum into the Earn Vault away from the Steth. This is a covered call option vault down here, and then up here is the Earn. Kind of wondering if I shouldn't have stayed in the staked ETH vaults, covered call vault, because I mean, long term, these APRs are insane, 35% on your ETH, along with the just the potential for growth in the Ethereum network in particular. I do expect Ethereum to hit at least $5,000 over the next 2 years. So on top of that, receiving 35% in ETH, in staked ETH actually back, would be incredible. But I'm being a little bit more conservative now that the market's starting to turn back up. In my opinion, I think we're in the accumulation phase before the next bull market, and we could see some high runs, but I do think we're going to stay underneath 10% gains through most of the year. So I think my staked ETH is probably the most safe in the Earn Vault for now. But let's go back and look at, I'm providing liquidity to the HOP protocol in both Optimism and Arbitrum. I've got 1 ETH in both of those with a decent 9% APR, or APYs rather, on those, or variable APRs on those. And then I am providing, this is a fun one, I'm providing liquidity to the HOP protocol in, I believe it's on Optimism, and then I'm providing the liquidity token to Pickle, which is actually going to get me closer, projected, right, 14% APR on that platform. Pickle's an interesting one. Similar to Curve, but on Optimism, I believe, or Arbitrum, I'm not sure which. Probably on both, actually. In fact, I'm positive it's on both. So while you're watching this, guys, thanks for joining me. Please put any questions or comments in the chat below. I'd love to answer any DeFi-related Ethereum comments. Anything ERC20 or EVM compatible is up for grabs, and let's chat about it. So let's keep going. There's a lot to talk about. A couple more coins. I talked about the Convex. You do get some Convex rewards when you stake your Curve LP tokens in Convex. I'm getting some Frax tokens, specifically in the Frax ETH to Frax Curve Vault, and then the LPs are in Convex, and I'm earning some Frax in that as a part of my APY in that specific vault. Lido as well, when you stake Lido staked ETH, or even I believe the Convex, somewhere in Convex I'm making Lido. I think it's in the ETH to Synthetics ETH pool, but I'm not sure. And then obviously in the HOP, I'm making HOP from providing liquidity to HOP. HOP's been around for a while, and I got into the Discord early on, so I do want to support that community again, though I don't know if their token's going to do a heck of a lot, just because there's not a lot of utility yet, unless I'm mistaken. And then last but not least, at least on this in TradingView here, I've got Chia. So Chia's an outlier. This is not an ERC20. In fact, this is a completely different blockchain created by the founder of BitTorrent. So Chia started and came along in that narrative last year in particular, where Elon Musk said that Bitcoin's too resource intensive to be accepted as collateral or payment for an EV company. So when that narrative started, Chia launched at like the same time. And check out this token. Like, look at this run all the way to the floor. But man, this started at like over $1,200 a coin. Like, I think originally it was like, yeah, over $2,000 a coin on a first trading day. Of course, it collapsed like as soon as it was able to be traded. This was you could pre-mine this. It's actually hard drive proof of proof of space is what they were calling this network. So instead of proof of work or proof of stake, it was proof of space or proof of hard drive space essentially. So we're mining to hard drives. We're using hard drives to create the blocks by spinning up. It wasn't GPU. It was basically you ran the heck out of your fastest RAM. People are using SSDs to create these. Obviously, processing power was part of it, but the blocks were so big from a storage perspective that it was proof of storage. So it's still up and running. I'm still running my Chia farm. I've got probably upwards of 40, 50 terabytes running on a Windows computer and mining Chia. So I wanted to mine something essentially, right? And I'm a video creative, so I need a lot of hard drive space. So it seemed like a net, pretty much a net gain either way. As long as I mined at least a block or two, I wasn't going to be out, because I will use the hard drive space eventually. Even if I have to delete Chia plots, I'm going to be passing on footage to clients and taking up hard drive space. So I figured, why not? Let's just buy a bunch all at once. See if the chain takes off. It hasn't, and I'm going to probably hold on to this at least for another 2 years. Hopefully all the drives last longer than that. Otherwise I will lose money on this. But it was fun to spin up a node and create some blocks and hope for the best. So that's what I've got going on with Chia. All right, let's get into Zerion. Zerion is a platform that shows you your portfolio, gives you a pretty good idea of like where everything is as far as what protocols you're using and how much you have in them, as far as current prices. And then I'm gonna have these all hidden, so you can't see exactly what I'm up to as far as dollar amounts go. But it keeps track of everything. So I've got my ribbon. I've got Lido staked ETH, ribbon locked, ribbon rewards, and Ethereum all in ribbon there. Like I said before, there's the synthetics ETH pool, which puts it against ETH, and that's in the curved out token is the reward token in convex. So I'm getting some convex there too. It's not showing the Frax. I do have some Frax Ether, but I don't have the Frax pool up here. I have Frax ETH going against some ETH in convex as well. Like I said, in the HOP protocol, I'm making some HOP rewards. HOP is up. My HOP rewards is up 7% today, so that's cool. Both in Arbitrum and Optimism. So that's the Arbitrum symbol, and that's the Optimism symbol. So I'm making some rewards there. There are staking rewards, so I do get paid in some ETH, but also in the HOP token. Now the Frax. This is Frax staked Ether, so I'm staking Frax Ether in the staking protocol. That is a pretty juicy one, guys. Much better than Lido or Coinbase staked ETH or Rocket ETH. That's about an 8% APR, currently variable, obviously, between 7 and 8. So you're getting at least 2% better in Frax staking ETH than you are in any other just simple staked ETH. So I do recommend that one. I like that one a lot. Again, do your own research. It hasn't been around as long as Lido has, so be careful there. Obviously, Coinbase is a big CeFi company, but at least they're backed by being on the stock exchange, so they're going to do well. Let's see, Sentiment. Sentiment's an interesting one. So I have some ETH and wrapped ETH, liquid staked ETH, USD coin in Sentiment. Sentiment is the only place that I'm doing a little bit of degen DeFi strategy. So I come from a background of stocks. In the stock market, if you have excess of $20,000 in your trading account, you can trade on a margin account, right? So I think you can do that with less, but I was doing it to be a day trader. You have to have at least $20,000 in whatever platform you're in one platform. You can't have it in multiple platforms. You have to have it all in one in order to be a day trader, pattern day trader, they call it. Well, I was able to trade with margin in that account because of the amount of money and the amount of trading I was doing. And this brings me back to that. So Sentiment lets you provide collateral. So I've got a full wrapped liquid staked ETH. So wrapped meaning it's going to accrue value rather than accrue the amount of the coin. So Lido staked ETH, before it's wrapped, just grows in numbers, so you get more of staked ETH, where wrapped liquid staked ETH is the Lido version that wraps it and actually grows in value rather than, if you have one wrapped liquid staked ETH, you're going to continue to have one, but the value of it will go higher, whereas if you have regular Lido staked ETH, you're going to be growing the amount of it that you have. So eventually 1.01, eventually 1.02, that sort of thing. So that's the difference between the two. And so I provided liquidity with a wrapped staked ETH inside of Sentiment. Sentiment's interesting. So let's actually jump into Sentiment real quick. So they actually make you create an account. And I think I need to switch over to Arbitrum, because that's what I'm using it in. Again, I'm fishing airdrops, especially on Arbitrum right now. So do a bunch of transactions in Arbitrum, but not just transactions. Get into these vaults and create some DeFi gains for yourself, and that's where you're gonna get the most value, I think. So I provided a whole, or close to one wrapped staked ETH, right? 0.85, and then I borrowed $1,600, or just a little more than one. Basically, I wanted one whole Ethereum to purchase, so I borrowed $1,600 USDC, and then I bought a wrapped Ethereum with the borrowed USDC, and that can be all done within Sentiment here. So you can, if you go to borrow, you can manage. And when you go to manage, this is where you're purchasing. Actually, let me go to my profile. So I believe when you go to manage accounts, you get to deposit here, and then you can deposit basically anything. They'll take most ERC20s, I believe, as collateral. You put them in there, and then they show up in your account here, and then you can borrow against them. So you go to the borrow tab and you manage how much you want to borrow. So I borrowed $1,600 worth of stable coins, and pretty much immediately I waited for the market to dump a little bit, like $50, because I do think we're going to see Ethereum continue to go up. But now's the time for me, in my opinion at least, to start borrowing against my Ethereum and using some of that leverage, some of that margin, if you will, because otherwise I think you're leaving some cards on the table. If you think about it, if you're into real estate, right, and you buy a house, you have equity in that house, and you can actually borrow against that equity to do a construction loan. You can borrow against that equity to pay off some other higher APR debt, these sorts of situations. Well, with stocks and crypto, you want to be leveraging the equity that you have with your tokens. At least this is how you multiply, right? Again, this is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't take my advice unless you, or just don't take my advice. But do your own research and learn here. I like to be careful. But I like to, multiply my money. So I do think we're at the bottom, if not slightly above the bottom, or, we could see lower lows, but I don't think we're going to see much more than, much lower than an $800 Ethereum, right? If that. We saw a $900 Ethereum 3-4 months ago at the lows of last year. And we've come up since then. We've accumulated since then. We have an announcement that Ether is going to be the wrapped Ether, the ETH2 is going to be available in March with the Shanghai upgrade. And so at this point, I believe we have hit lows, and we may dump down to 1250, maybe as low as 900 again, but now is the time I'm going to start using DeFi as it's intended, just like TradFi. Start using margin, start accumulating, using USDC as a means, a borrowing means to buy more Ethereum. So I'll still owe $1,600 in USDC at the end. Whenever I want to sell that Ethereum, I'll still have to owe that, right? And I'm borrowing at a 4% margin, but that's 4% over the next 12 months, right? So at the end of 12 months, I will owe this protocol Sentiment, $1,600 times 1.357. So, no, that's not even right. It's 0.357. I will owe them $57 if at the end of the year, right? So I'm okay if I have to pay that back out with cash. That's fine. Like if all my WETH goes to zero. In fact, if all my Ethereum goes to zero, I walk away because this is a decentralized market. I don't have any. There's no credit check. It's not going to hurt my credit score. I mean, it would hurt the protocol, hurt everybody in it. But if everybody's going to zero, everybody's going to zero. So what's the risk? The risk is I lose my investment. But if I'm betting, in favor of Ethereum staying above $1,600 in the next 2 years. I think that's a pretty safe bet, especially since we've seen highs of $4,800, right? With Ethereum, expect at least a 4x to 5x in the Ethereum space in the next. I mean, we're deflationary now. That wasn't the case when we saw all-time highs before with EIP 1559. This was the all-time high was pre-burn, which is crazy. I think that's right. I could be wrong. I think we saw the burn and then we saw the all-time high. But beyond that, guys, we've seen, the burn didn't make it deflationary yet. And now that we have seen, am I right? Gosh, everything's a blur over the last couple of years. With COVID and everything else, it's just been a blur. But we saw $4,800 ETH, and we have EIP 1559, which causes the burn, and now we have the announcement of the Shanghai upgrade being available to unstake any Ethereum to continue to validate with proof of stake and to make decent gains, 5 to 6% on most validations. So, and I think that'll only go up with the gas. As gas prices go up, I think that's going to go up as well as far as what we're making, because the equilibrium point will give more rewards to. As if we're burning more, we're going to have more rewards for the stakers. So I think with gas prices going up, we'll see more staking, which will provide more incentive for corporations and some big money whales to get into to staking Ethereum. We're early, guys. We're still early, in my humble opinion. So moving on, what I wanted to say with this is I'm going to start putting more into these sorts of borrowing. I think Sentiment's a great one, but I also want to get into, the more traditional ones like Aave and Maker, and a couple of newer ones as well to farm possible airdrops. But I think now is the time for me, at least. I would love to see one more downfall. I'd love to see $1,200 ETH again. Accumulate some more, borrow against them, and buy some more ETH to just pump my bag, and then hold on for dear life as the price skyrockets over the next 24 months. All right, what else do I have? Let's go back to Zerion. Sentiment was a fun one. Balancer, I've got a little bit. Balancer is similar to Uniswap, a little bit more slightly different in that regard. They have a lot more incentives. Uniswap doesn't really incentivize pools beyond their trading fees. Obviously, it's the highest protocol for trading. In fact, I believe it's one of the highest for all time burns for Ethereum in particular. Yeah, Uniswap is at the top of the list. Right now, this is the daily. Let's go look at the 30. Yeah, between OpenSea and Uniswap and ETH transfers in general, Uniswap being like in the top, what, 3 times? They're burning a lot of ETH, guys, so they don't need to incentivize their transactions. They're making, well, Uniswap is actually a decentralized organization, and the fees go to the pool providers. I made some decent money in Uniswap actually on USDC versus Ribbon last week when we had a pump in Ribbon. I made about $300 in the swing of the trade. But as you're Uniswap v3 in particular, as you're in a 50% to 50% pool, while the token, the non-USDC token is going up, you're actually trading that into USDC. So it's actually a nice little swing trade mechanism, in my opinion. You could do the same as sort of a, I look at it like options because I was into options, and that's why I'm in Ribbon a lot, is because I love options. It's similar to a put sell or a covered call sell situation where you're incentivized when the token price goes up. If you want to get into more USDC, and if you expect the market to go down, you can incentivize it that way. We actually put a lot more USDC into the vault and very few of the accompanying token, and watch your USDC go away as the token price goes lower and as it buys more, essentially, right? So it's an interesting way to get into the market if you're familiar with purchasing options on the seller side rather than the buyer side. I find it a good way to DCA or to scale out of a position if you want to look at it that way. There is some impermanent loss if you have too tight of a range, so be careful there. Set your range when you go into Uniswap pretty wide. All right, who's got some questions? Let's see how many people we've got watching right now. Looks like we've got one watching right now. That's probably me. Anyway, if you're watching, guys, I would love to chat more DeFi with you. Please put some comments out there. Let's go back to Zerion, see if oh yeah, we got some GMX. GMX is interesting. So you actually supply GMX with collateral. You buy GMX actually, and then GMX is like Uniswap or Balancer or whatever, but it actually swaps with multiple tokens at once. You don't choose which token it's gonna swap with. You invest in GMX, you get trading fees through GMX. GMX has a swap as well, but when you buy GMX, you get the swapping fees from all their pools rather than supplying, one-to-one sort of pool situation. Stargate is similar to Hop. It's another bridge. I've provided some Ethereum in Optimism and getting some Optimism rewards there, and then I've supplied some USDC both in Arbitrum and Optimism, getting some Stargate tokens as well as Optimism tokens as rewards there. Plutus DAO, this was something new to me that I learned in Layer 3. There's some cool rewards that you can get. Unfortunately, you're buying some coins you're not really familiar with or sure about. So, I wouldn't put a ton of money into it, but it is an interesting way to make, 30+% APYs from a protocol. Let's see, where was I? Zerion. Because when you use Plutus, you're buying like Jones DAO, you're buying DAO tokens, and then you're staking them, and then you're getting more Jones DAO tokens or in return. So you get rewarded in the DAO's tokens that you put in, which is interesting. So I'm getting Jones, I'm getting Dopex, just some stuff that I ran into. I don't have a lot in there, guys. I mean, it's pennies really, but Synthetics is pretty cool. Synthetics is similar to Sentiment. You can borrow, you can trade all within the protocol. Supply SUSD or Synthetics to start trading. Sentiment does it interestingly with you have a wallet within a wallet essentially. So in Sentiment you have like an account that you supply, and then it keeps basically all your funds stay in the account. So they, if you get liquidated, you don't have, they make it so it doesn't have to be so stringent with your borrowing abilities. So the fact that I was able to borrow $1,600 with less than $1,600 in collateral is because it keeps it in the protocol. I'm not moving tokens elsewhere. Otherwise, you could just steal a bunch of tokens, run away with them, right, and go out, go cash them out if you really wanted to. But they keep your borrowed tokens in the protocol. And then Synthetics is similar, where you're buying the synthetic token, so that keeps it essentially in-house. So I don't think I have Synthetics up here anywhere. But yeah, Synthetics is cool. So you provide collateral, and then you can trade within Synthetics. But you can also make you actually make some gains within you can do debt similar to Sentiment. I have a little bit of debt in Synths, borrowed some, bought something else, kind of thing. So Aave, same thing. Aave is one of the OG DeFi lending platforms, if you're not familiar. Radiant is actually pretty similar as well. It's another lending protocol. These are just all things I've tried on Optimism, in particular Arbitrum, to hopefully farm an airdrop. Radiant, I don't believe, has a token yet, and that was why I got into that. Synthetics definitely does. Stargate does have a token, but because it's on Arbitrum, I wanted to make sure I'm farming there to hopefully get some Arbitrum tokens. GMX definitely has its own token. I believe, I don't think Sentiment yet has its own token, so that's another place I'm potentially getting an airdrop eventually, right? Potential. Synthetics, Aave, Radiant, Curve again. I put some of my SUSD that I got from Synthetics into the Curve protocol. I'm doing the what do they call it? Curve farming, the SUSD DAI, USDC, USDT pool, which gets you Optimism rewards and Curve rewards, and you're doing you're providing all stables. So USDT, DAI, USD, and SUSD, which is the Synth USD. And then again, I mentioned Pickle before. So that's pretty much everything I'm in, guys. I do have some Ethereum in my stock account. So if you're a little bit afraid of the DeFi space, and there's plenty of learning curve to be, managed here. If you just want some exposure to Ethereum in a traditional stock world, you can get some ETHE, which is the Grayscale Ethereum Trust. And that's where I've put some of my retirement savings from old jobs that I had. I cashed out in 2020 because you could without penalty, bought back in, and purchased a bunch of Grayscale Ethereum Trust shares. So I'm even exposed to Ethereum, and almost everything is Ethereum now. In all of my trading accounts, all of my life savings, if you will, is banking on Ethereum, doing very well. And gosh, guys, there's so much going on in DeFi, and to come back to it, the reason why I don't have any Bitcoin, if you saw at the beginning of the video, I don't hold any Bitcoin because I believe so much in the utility of a token rather than just the store value. will I buy some Bitcoin at some point? Probably, to just store some value. I mean, my grandma has a bunch of gold, so will I have some digital gold someday? Probably. But I believe in the utility of Ethereum. Make your money work for you. Don't let it just sit there and accrue value. Do something with it, and that's why I'm getting into things like sentiment, Aave, and the like right now, because I think your money should work for you. You should build it actively. Don't be passive with your money, guys. There is such thing as passive gains, but it's very rare, and you really have to work hard on the front end to make substantial growth in life-changing money in passive income. So be active, especially with if you have your total value of your I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name. If your net worth is under $1 million, let's say, be active with your money. There's no reason to be passive with it. Even if you're over $1 million, guys, you know how you got there. You were active with it. And so keep up the activity. I recommend you get into DeFi. If you're interested in the space, do your own research. This is not financial advice, but this is a good way to make your money work for you. All kinds of APRs, way better than the banking system. Way better, in my opinion, than the stock exchange, because you get to put your money in places where it will do things that you couldn't in just the traditional TradFi space. So with that, guys, unless there's any questions, I will bid you farewell until Thursday. I think we'll be into February. So February 2nd at 3:30 p.m. Central Time, if I'm back by then. Actually, I might have to push this to Friday this week. I'm going out of town Thursday, maybe back in town by 3:30, but probably unlikely. But if I get in between 3:30 and 4, I'll go live anyway. It's not like I have a huge channel yet, and you'll get to watch this video after I'm done. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and God bless.